Okay, so how does it feel, you guys, being here at the capital of puppy mills in North America?
Well, we deal with a lot with puppy mills in the United States. We got called on a couple of large protests. One in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. There was a group that was boycotting all the puppy mills up there. Lancaster, Pennsylvania is like the
capital of puppy mills over there, right?
Yeah. So what happened was they had about 60, 70 people marching, and the town didn't take kindly to them because they were making a protest, and there was women and children there, and they weren't too nice to them. So they called on Rescue Inc. to come down and try to help them out and do some security for them to make sure that these women and children were okay as they were protesting. So as they let the word out that Rescue Inc. was going to come down and make sure everything was going to be okay, it went from like 100, 150 people to about 700 to 1,000 people the first year. The second year went from almost 2,000. The third year was 3,000 people. Oprah, I think, came down. Victoria Stilwell. The other guy, Cesar Millan, came down, and it started getting a worldwide, national and worldwide attention. And they started doing puppy mill protests all around the country.
Yeah, now it's in Texas. They had said their third year in Texas. So the word's getting out there. Puppy mills, we all know, is a big money machine, and it's sad how they make their money. And the stores, we always say adopt, don't shop. And the stores are the ones who buy these puppies.
Yeah, if we let people know that on an average it takes about 5 of these puppies, in transport and other heinous acts. On an average, 5 of them are taken to a store, and by the time they get there, usually like one survives.
Yeah. And so would you say that you would be happy to help us out here to promote the stop of puppy mills? Because if you can bring in public attention, because the situation is horrible. Yeah,
we also advocate for stronger laws. We helped them when they were trying to pass Law 2525 in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, the ethical treatment of puppy mill dogs, where they would have to be seen by a vet, and also a lot of people don't understand. They take these animals and they keep them in deplorable situations, small cages, many animals in one cage. A lot of times they have chicken wire as floors, and their legs fall through, and the other animals that are starving, sometimes they die, they expire, and they resort to cannibalism, which is really horrendous.
Yeah, and so you would say it's important for the people just to give their voice, because if there's only just a few of us, it won't work.
Yeah, strengthening numbers.
Strengthening numbers. So that's important.
Yes, awareness is what it's all about.
Okay, because I think people here, they just feel devastated and they think nothing can be done. We have over so many, it's outnumbered, the amount of puppy mills that we have here.
It only takes a snowflake to start an avalanche.
Well, that's what we're trying to do here at Montreal Dog Blog, but, if we could have the support of people that can pull, masses. We're talking about masses that we need.
We have no problem.
We don't have no problem being here in Montreal, spreading the word.
That would be very awesome. And about this new application that you guys have, how do you guys feel about it? Is it gonna be just working here in North America kind of thing, or is it gonna be able, for
it's worldwide?
Worldwide.
That's so wonderful about it. In the United States, we're always trying to pass laws, and from state to state or on a national level. A lot of people that abuse animals, tend to move on to abuse humans as well.
Yeah.
And they're always trying to start a national registry of people that abuse animals, sex offenders, child offenders. And we've been advocating for stronger laws for a very, very long time. We've been asked to speak at the Albany and at the Capitol
of New York,
And we work with a lot of lawmakers, but a lot of times they don't have the statistical data to make these laws.
Yeah.
So what we did is we teamed up with these great people, and they came up with a Facebook application that's not only going to be national for the United States, it's on the World Wide Web. So it's international, and it's going to be a place where everybody can go and they could report the abuse and neglect however they see it, and it's made into statistical data, so whenever somebody wants to get these numbers, they can. Maybe it's going to be a college, a university, a country, or just people like yourself doing informational pieces on abuse and neglect.
Okay.
We try to tell everybody, rescuing doesn't just rescue animals, we rescue children and women as well.
Yeah.
And almost 100% of all the serial killers, pedophiles, and rapists all started off abusing animals at one time or another. What they do is they practice on animals, and when they can't feed that sickness inside, they move on to something else that they deem to be helpless, which is usually a small child, a woman, or an elderly person.
Mm-hmm.
These are the people that rescuing seeks out on a 24-hour basis.
How do you feel being at the first place of the guy Magnotta, the guy that first started killing cats, and then after he came here and killed a human?
Well,
cut it into pieces. This is how bad it is.
Yeah, we would have liked to have been here a while sooner.
If he was here, we would have did a home visit.
And gave him a little education.
Yes.
Yeah.
With that whole thing, we got the video. We determined the video was real. We did a psychological profile because rescuing is comprised of street military personnel, private investigators, police officers, and lawyers.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a full arsenal at our disposal.
Mm-hmm.
When we had this video was brought to us, we determined it was real, and we did a psychological profile. One of our psychiatrists did a psychological profile on this person, and we determined that this person either had killed people, a human being, smaller, or it's a bridge crime, so it transfers into humans. He either did it or will do it in the very near future because he's feeding off all the publicity he's getting. And we did, I think, like a week or two after the video did come out, we did an interview, and we stated that on the interview. We've gotten, there's a piece coming out, I think, in Canada. It's like your 60 Minutes. We have 60 Minutes. Your 60 Minutes. They came down, they interviewed us. They were with us for like 3-4 days, and they took, all the information we gave them, and they interviewed us, and they're going to play that. But unfortunately, there are no international laws in place because we did try to lure this guy into the United States.
Yeah.
And through a couple of different ways, and it didn't work out, But if we did get him into the United States, we would have handled the problem.
Do you find it pathetic that everybody here tried to tell, the authorities that this was going on and they did nothing about it?
The thing is, the authorities don't have the tools to deal with a person like this.
Okay.
That's why we teamed up with these wonderful people, and we made this software with them, this Facebook application. So when lawmakers in the United States and in Canada turn around and get faced with the facts of the statistical data that we're going to be gathering, they're going to turn around and say, okay, this is a problem that we need to deal with.
That is
you got these regular guys like us, Rafi and us, and we're sitting here and we're doing whatever humanly possible to try to stop this. And that's where it starts. It starts with a movement, and then someone sees you and has an idea and puts all his hard work and sweat and his company into it and just makes that movement light years ahead of what we would have to do. And he brought us to a level where it's a worldwide application. So if somebody wants to know something that's happening in a different country, or the statistical data of abuse in a specific city, who did it, what type of person, who was it done to, how old, all these things they're going to be able to pull out of this application, and they're going to be able to use that to make a new law, to make sure, see, we're here to make the world a better place. That's what we're here to do. And through our hard work and through Rafi's hard work, it's going to show everybody that much faster through facts and statistical data that something needs to be done.
Are you afraid of vigilantes?
We're not afraid of anybody.
No. Vigilantes people, like motivating people to get together and go and target like certain areas.
Listen, we're not above the law. We get into trouble constantly.
Yeah.
You know, we do because we feel we have to do it. When somebody draws a line in the sand, there's got to be somebody on the other side that's willing to do whatever it takes to push back when they step over the line. And we get into trouble all the time. That's why we have lawyers.
Yeah.
You know, and we know sooner or later something's going to happen where it's not going to end well, but we're willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that it stops.
Yeah.
Period.
And for example, if people are motivated to take out dogs from puppy mills and everything, what would you recommend for them to do? Because
we know some of these people.
Yeah.
So what happens to these animals once they get out? Where do they go?
You're talking about the organizations that break in and take the animals? Liberate? I don't want to say take them. They liberate the animals?
They save them.
Yeah, but the problem with that is they're not educating anybody.
That's
okay, they're not spreading awareness of what's going on. They're just stealing dogs and giving them to somebody else.
That's it.
Okay? It's very important to educate people of what's going on, not to go to a shelter right away. There's many rescues with many kinds of breeds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of just going out and buying a dog.
Yeah.
And some people have to know this.
Yeah.
Some people, believe it or not, they don't.
Yeah.
They just think I can only get it from a store. Because they go to a shelter and they think, oh, well, I'm looking for this kind of dog. But some people don't realize that there's a rescue for that kind of dog. You can go online, you can contact us, and we'll connect you with that dog you're looking for through that rescue.
Yeah,
if we don't have it ourselves, probably.
One of the biggest problems is people think from their heart instead of from their head. They think from your head they'll do better with your heart. And they don't think when they do it. They think they're doing the right thing, but they realize that they're not because they're thinking from here instead of from here.
Yeah.
They do much better up here.
I've had a lot of people, I tell them just go to the shelter. Whatever dog you're looking for is at the shelter. And they're like, really? They're clueless. They're like, no.
We just got.
You have to go to a pet store. I'm like, no, go to the shelter.
I just picked up a Great Dane in our facility. A young, beautiful Great Dane. You know how many phone calls I got on that Great Dane? A purebred, beautiful, young Great Dane. The phone's not stopping.
We have a Yorkie that we just got. We got Ben, pure breed kind of Corso. 9 months old, 120 pounds.
Yeah.
People spend thousands and thousands of dollars, and they don't even realize that you can get one for free. All you have to do is prove that you love this animal, which some people can do and some people can't. However, getting back to the people that break into the facilities and do all those things, they feel they have to do that. We're not here to judge anybody. We wouldn't want to be judged, so we don't judge anybody. However, they feel they have to do that, and when you have people that are willing to do whatever it takes to get animals out of harm's way, when they're being harmed for no particular reason other than to do experiments, that's their prerogative. If they get in trouble for that, they get in trouble for that. But they're willing to put their lives and risk everything on the line to rescue animals. So, they do whatever they have to do.
Are you here also to advocate? For example, our cities here, they have the permission, the authority, like if, for example, rescues, like animal control facilities, I'm talking about animal control, I'm not talking about rescues, okay? They have the right to sell the animals for experiments, for lab tests.
We have bundlers, aid bundlers, beast bundlers. They take a bunch of dogs and they're able to bunch them up and sell them all. And they sell them for lab experiments. They sell them for all different types of reasons.
Yeah, for torturing. And our city is, allows this. Montreal, the southern part of Montreal.
Yeah, like we don't do any animal testing whatsoever. We have shampoo that we sell. We tested it on Johnny and Al.
And the hair is
fine.
It smells really good.
If everybody who was looking for a dog would go to a shelter and get a dog, there wouldn't be no worries about bundling and people and getting animals to labs and bunches. There wouldn't be that problem if you would just go to a shelter and get a dog.
We're integrating an adoption section in the rescuing app. So if ever anybody wants something, they can, I want this kind of dog, go get it, and they can just hook them up.
Rescue dogs know it too.
Yeah.
They know it.
They're very grateful.
Because it's kind of difficult. In Facebook, there's so many different little groups everywhere that sometimes we miss what's going on. So
that's why we allow everyone to use our Facebook pages, to put their animals up there. You know what I
There's
mean?
been a lot of adoptions from our page.
Sure.
Probably.
And you want to know something? There's a lot of rescues, and we says this, there's a lot of rescues that happen, and we don't even get to the rescue. It happens because somebody turns around and says, well, I'm going to call Rescue Inc. and this, that, and the other thing, and the guys are like, let's just talk about this, and we'll work it out. And they wind up working it out, so.
I get messages on Facebook all the time, and like, I adopted that cat that was on your page 2 months ago. I'm like, oh, great.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I hear it all the time. I guess everybody hears it.
Maybe one day if we can centralize all the data.
Exactly.
That's what we're
That's it.
shooting for.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a long uphill road, you know?
Yeah, so basically the message that Rescue Inc. came to do to Canada, well, to Quebec right now is educate yourself and do something about the laws. You know, it's about getting together and changing something, right?
Yeah, Rescue Inc. backs up all the rescue groups, SPCA, ASPCA, Humane Society, all the mom and pop rescue groups all over the world, Humane Society of Canada, wherever it may be. We've been as far as Germany, we've been to Canada a bunch of times, California, Florida, we've been all over, man.
And so, like, you're ready, because I know a lot of people will be asking, for help throughout that application.
Sure.
Yeah.
The team is ready
It's what we do.
to respond.
It's what we do.
That's what I do.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I answer the phone 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the
My
morning.
phone never stops.
Oh, you guys are awesome. I'm jealous because I wish I could do.
We've been close.
I'm jealous.
We're jealous.
I'm jealous because I wish I could dedicate my whole time to this.
Well, we all have
everything
jobs.
that I do.
We all have jobs and families. We all work. We don't get paid for this. This is all volunteer.
Yeah, we do this in between our jobs, what we have to do.
There's a thing too, like a lot of people, they think, believe it or not, some people don't do anything because they feel like they have to go out there and be this big thing. I tell everybody all the time, if you just rescue one dog, just one, if everybody here would just rescue one dog, okay, that's it. You're saving a life, a cat, or if you go out there, because a lot of people in their minds think that they have to, I got to save 10 dogs, okay, and they save one dog, but I only saved one. Guess what? You changed the world for that one dog or cat.
Did you make a difference?
Okay, right. You made a difference in that dog's life, the cat's life. Okay, so if everybody would just help out one animal,
And
just one.
They're an easy way to help animals too. A lot of people want to help, but they don't know what to do. And there are people say, I'd like to volunteer at the shelter, but I can't walk in there. It makes me sick. I'm like, okay, well, collect towels. Find out what the shelter needs and do a collection in your neighborhood, your kid's school. The shelter's probably desperate for cat litter, desperate for towels, desperate for laundry detergents. They are.
That would be good if the application would be able to have a wish list.
Yeah,
The wish list.
and you're helping those animals.
If a specific shelter or something had a wish list and be able to put it on. Also, expanding on what Johnny O said about rescuing with your head, not your heart, we're getting more and more phone calls and emails about rescue groups. Rescue groups are going out there and they're starting their own rescue groups. We always say, if you want to get into rescue, volunteer for one of the big rescue groups. Once you know what it entails and you know what you're doing, then if you want to do it yourself, do it yourself. If you want to start your own rescue group, do it yourself. Don't just jump in and go grab a whole bunch of dogs and put them in your basement. It's not going to work. You know what I mean? You need trainers. You need money. You need volunteers. You need vets. You need a lot of knowledge, and you need the wherewithal, and you need to be tough enough and mentally strong enough to say what's the hardest thing for a rescue person to say no.
You become a hoarder by the end of the week.
Correct, and we're getting more and more.
I did a case this week. Can I mention it?
No.
Okay. One of the biggest animal hospitals in the Philadelphia area, that's a Greyhound Adoption Program, called me up that a woman is doing rescues outside the city. She's bringing dogs into the vet hospital that some are dying, some are dead, some are being cremated, and some are just badly destroyed and mauled. Because she's got
Mule.
That was close. She's got 15,
I got you.
she's got 20, 25 dogs in her house, from pit bulls to little tiny dogs, and they're killing each other. And as they kill each other, she's bringing the dogs to the hospital for either euthanize them,
Oh, poor babies. No.
vet them. She became,
That's some of the rescuing with the heart, not the head, and it turns into a mess. And we try to talk to everybody. It's not that we're smarter than anybody. It's we've been around longer. We've seen all the. A lot of people call me and say, Joe, I have this problem with this, and I'm like, all right, this is what you have to do. You have to take this dog here. You have to do this. Well, I want you to come and help me. Well,
do you think there's a lack of common sense on people, that they don't really think about it and they don't know how, how to ease the situation and solve it?
The thing is, everybody starts off with the best of intentions.
Yeah.
But there's a saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That's where you have to think. If you have two hands, maybe you can handle two dogs.
Yeah.
If you've been in rescue for years and you've worked for the big guys and you know how to evaluate and you know dogs' temperaments and you know their mannerisms and you know if they're going to get agitated and you can sense it a little bit because am I right? It's a sense when you see a dog. It's an animal thing. A lot of people wouldn't understand.
You know what I
mean?
You have to be connected.
Yeah, we understand. So. A lot of times, somebody will turn around and bring a dog in and bring another dog right into the house. Well, no, you got to introduce one neutral ground. You can't take a high-energy dog and a high-energy dog and put it together because then you're going to have an explosion. You know what I mean? You can't, there's certain things that are common knowledge to a rescuer that normal people wouldn't know. So it's not really common sense. It's common sense to a person that's been rescuing for a long period of time.
Okay.
But, a layman might turn around and, one person turned around and said, I found a kitten. Okay, where'd you find it? Oh, it was in the bushes. Well, how old is it? I don't know, it's hardly got its eyes open. Well, did you no, I took it. There was a cat walking around. Didn't you think that was the mother cat? Well, I'm going to bring it back now. Well, maybe the mother's not going to go back there anymore.
Oh.
Sometimes it's better just to look from afar. If you have a question, call somebody. You know what I mean? We don't want people doing what we do because it's extremely dangerous what we do. We go to door knocks, that means knocking on somebody's door. You never know what's on the other side of the door. Everybody thinks it's going to be this big, humongous guy and we're going to be brawling. The person that would most likely do the most damage is the little old lady who doesn't understand something, who has a gun underneath the nightgown. That's going to turn around and make a horrible mistake. That's the things that happen in real life.
Yeah.
However, we just, I don't want to keep on rambling, but we just want to advocate for strong laws. We want to educate everybody. We want to try to, whatever situations we've been in, we want to share it. That's why we post things on YouTube. That's why we had the documentary on the National Geographic Channel. That's why, there's people interested in putting our stuff back on the air. We just have to make sure it's portrayed the right way. And we don't sell out. We don't. We've been offered a lot of money. We've been offered 100 shows. We've been offered hundreds of thousands of dollars, but we would have to give away our name, give away our rescue. Our rescue is our lives. It's not a joke. It's not something that we're here to make money in. We spend our own money. It's what we do. That's what a lot of people don't understand. I hear the passion
and I hear the love from you guys. We've all seen it.
Well, we're all volunteers.
Yeah.
Some people think like we're paid employees. We're all volunteers.
I know.
When we came in, we needed hotel rooms, this, that, and the other thing. He was like, we can't afford hotel rooms. We can't afford it either. So what we said
you guys, my house is open one for you guys.
Well, we already have people at your house now. We drove down here and we got one hotel room and we all stayed in the one hotel room and we crashed for a couple hours and we came here. That's it.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is there a statistic number on how many puppy mills are in Montreal or Quebec?
In Quebec?
Because I know you said it's the largest.
Do they have to be registered?
Well, the number that they give is over.
The one we think?
Yeah, no. It's because they even know they even say. Yeah, no. Here in Quebec, we tend to do this a lot because
I thought everybody knows Friday.
It is all vague information. There's not really enough information, and there's over 2,000 puppy mills here.
In Montreal or Quebec?
In the close around area, backyard breeders and all of that. So. There's a lot. That's the number that they give. But there's always someone that has them in their basement, and it's horrible. The
There has to be
puppies
laws. If they enact laws that say, okay, if you want to breed animals and sell animals, you have to abide by this. A, you have to be registered. B, you have to have a vet. C, you have to have a certificate for the place that you're doing all this breeding.
Are you proud the way the Toronto's doing it?
I'm sorry?
Are you proud the way Toronto's doing it?
We're looking into the whole thing, so you got to get all aspects and everything and see exactly what's going on, because you got to look for if you're gonna comment on something, see it firsthand.
Okay.
The other thing they have to do is they have to have a contract with the person they sell the dog to, meaning that if that dog for any reason, like a reputable breeder, will never let you give their dog away. They will always take it back. So there has to be some sort of thing there that you'd have to be, if something happens, you'd have to be able to give the dog back. Or a certain tax go to these people that goes directly to the shelters. Like, you sell a dog, these people get dogs for $35, $40 and sell them for $1,500. The markup is insane.
Yeah, I know.
So what they should do is turn around and say, okay, you got this humongous profit you're making. On Christmas, you're selling all these puppies, which is, puppies and animals aren't presents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're doing all this stuff. They should have some sort of tax on that. So, okay, you sell 500 dogs a year. Well, out of those 500 dogs, the dropout rate of somebody passing away or somebody not being able to take it, when we get the statistical data, once we have the Facebook application up, we'll have that statistical data. And then we turn around and say, okay, out of that 500, you got 60 animals in the first year that lose their homes. Over 3 years, you got, as a percentile, let's just say 40% of the animals lose their home. So you take that as a number, so you got 40%. How much does it take to have the municipality take care of 150 animals or 200 animals? Then you turn around and you equate that into a dollar amount, then you figure out how to work backwards and turn around and say, okay, you're doing this, you're producing, you're having these dogs being produced, all these animals that are put out there into the public, and we're going to have to pay all this money, all the rescue groups are going to have to rescue all these dogs. Now if you turn around and do that, you have the biggest weapon in the world. Because all these people care about is money. So you hit them in the pocketbook. Now all of a sudden they can't really do this. Oh, you can't do this. You shut down. That's it. And you start shutting them down one at a time. And you have people that go there and make sure they're doing the right thing and make sure the animals are getting taken. You make it too expensive for them to be a screw up. And they won't do it. Period. The only thing they care about is money, so that's where you get it, right?
The application, is it going to be in French, too?
It's multilingual. So, like, I talked to Joe in Spanish and German, Chinese, but for now it's just English because we need proper translation. We don't want to, misuse the word or whatever, so...
Okay, I volunteer for whatever if you need in Spanish.
And there it is, my friends, my talk with the team of Rescue Inc. I appreciate the time that they took to talk to me, and for sure, guys, I appreciate everything that you do for the animals. Thank you, Thoransoft, for allowing MTB to be at the event, and for sure, thanks to everyone that made the unveiling of Rescue Inc. software application a great success. See you guys, and don't forget to visit us at www.montrealdogblog.com.